I warned you.
Oh, please.
You will listen.
I'm sorry.
Next time, obey. You're a nobody. You don't deserve anything new. Go and carry my children's old clothes in the dustbin and wear. Go inside there and pack my children's clothes and wash. You don't deserve any rest in this house.
In the small village of Omudara, where the morning sun rose gently over mud houses and narrow paths, lived a girl named Sunita. She was not born into wealth. She was born into hard work. Her father, Mr. Obu, was the strongest palm wine tapper in the village. Before the first cock crew, he would already be tying his rope around a tall palm tree, climbing higher than fear itself. The villagers respected him. If Mr. Obi is tapping, you will drink sweet palm wine today, they used to say. Her mother, Mrs. Obi, was a farmer. From sunrise to sunset, she bent over her crops with quiet determination. Cassava, maize, vegetables, she planted with hope and harvested with gratitude. They were not rich, but their home was full of love and dignity. Sunita was their only child. Intelligent, obedient, focused. She always carried her books everywhere, even to the farm. While her mother weeded the ground, Sunita would sit under a tree reading aloud. Her father would laugh and say, "This girl will not climb palm trees like me. She will climb success." But one rainy evening, everything changed. The sky was heavy. The wind was restless. Mr. Obi insisted on tapping one last tree before nightfall. Mrs. Obi felt uneasy. "Leave it for tomorrow," she pleaded. But he smiled. Just one more. That one more became their nightmare. The rope snapped. The sound bellowed before they saw the crowd gathering. Sunita ran barefoot when she heard the noise. She saw people standing in a circle. She pushed through. Her father was lying on the ground. Still, the palm tree that once obeyed him now stood tall and silent. That night, the house that once echoed with laughter was filled with quiet tears. Sunita did not fully understand death, but she understood absence. The next morning, after the burial, Mrs. Obi sat beside her daughter. Her eyes were swollen, but her voice was firm. "Listen to me carefully," she said, holding Sunita's shoulders. "Your father died walking. I will walk even harder. You will go to school. You will become something great. That is how we will honor him." From that day, Mrs. Obi became both mother and father. She farmed twice as much land. She carried heavier loads. She sold more produce. Every coin she earned had one purpose: Sunita's education. Sunita did not disappoint her. She became one of the brightest pupils in the village school. Teachers praised her. Elders blessed her. Children admired her. The villagers began to whisper, "That girl, she will change her family's story." Sunita studied with determination, not knowing that destiny was quietly preparing another chapter. A chapter that would test her patience. A chapter that would change her life forever. And one afternoon, the sound of a car engine entering the village would begin it. The village of Omudara had never seen a car like the one that rolled down its dusty path that afternoon. It was shiny, loud, announcing itself before it stopped. Out stepped Madame Rose, Mrs. Obi's elder sister. High heels clicking on the ground, gold jewelry catching the sun, perfume so strong the wind carried it before her. Her eyes fell on Sunita, carrying firewood while reciting her school notes aloud. A spark of admiration crossed her face. "This girl," she said, turning to her sister, "does not belong here. She deserves a better life, a city school, a proper future." Mrs. Obi smiled, tears welling in her eyes. Her daughter, her only child, finally noticed. Finally, someone saw what she had always known. Sunita was special. But can she manage in the city? Mrs. Obi asked softly. Madam Rose laughed. She will do more than manage. She will shine. That very afternoon, Sunita packed her little bag, books, a few clothes. Her heart fluttered with excitement and fear. Before they left, Mrs. Obi held her face and whispered words she would carry forever. Patience and hard work pay, my daughter. No matter what happens, do not give up. Make me proud. Sunita nodded, hugging her mother tightly. She felt the weight of her mother's hopes pressing against her small shoulders. The journey to town was long. The village disappeared behind the hills. The familiar smell of wet soil and cassava fields was replaced by smoke, dust, and the noise of town life. Madam Rose's house was large. Shiny tiles, soft sofas, expensive curtains. For a moment, she thought she had arrived in paradise. She imagined a new school, new friends, bright uniforms, and books that smelled of opportunity. But paradise can sometimes wear a mask. The first morning, instead of being sent to school, she was handed a broom. School? Sunita asked hesitantly. Madam Rose looked down at her, lips tight. You, first, learn to clean properly. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Sunita realized that life in Madam Rose's house was not the dream her mother had promised. The luxurious city home hid cruelty. Her cousins, Michelle and Patrick, were lazy, spoilt, and cruel. No housemaid ever lasted a day. Sunita was expected to do everything: sweep, cook, clean, wash, while her cousins did nothing. Even the food she ate was meager compared to theirs. Still, she remembered her mother's words. Patience and hard work pay, my daughter. No matter what happens, do not give up. Make me proud. And she held onto that invisible armor as the city began to show its harshest face. Life in Madam Rose's house was far from the dream Sunita had imagined. Every day was a test. Every day was labor. Every day reminded her that promises do not always mean truth. Mrs. Obi faithfully sent money for Sunita's school fees and upkeep. But Madam Rose had other plans. New clothes for Michelle, new shoes for Patrick, new accessories for herself. When Sunita asked about her own school uniform, Madam Rose sneered. You don't deserve anything new. Go and pick what my children no longer wear. And so, Sunita went to the dustbin. She picked out old, torn clothes. Sometimes they were filthy, and she did not even have detergent to wash them. She wore them anyway. Some nights she slept hungry. Some morning she woke to scrub floors until her fingers cracked. She cooked, she cleaned, she washed, she ran errands. All while Michelle and Patrick lounged, laughed, and played. Whenever Mrs. Obi tried to visit, excuses came like arrows. She's in school. She traveled. She's sick. No matter how hard she tried, Sunita's mother could not reach her. And then one night, Mrs. Obi had a terrible dream. She saw her daughter barefoot and crying, standing alone in the rain. She woke up trembling, tried calling Madam Rose. No answer. She traveled to town herself, but the house was empty. Madam Rose had moved. Neighbors knew nothing of their whereabouts. Mrs. Obi returned to the village broken-hearted. Days of worry turned into sickness, high blood pressure, and one morning, the news everyone feared came. Mrs. Obi passed away. Sunita did not even know her mother had come looking for her. Her only anchor in the world was gone. She was left alone, trapped in a house where kindness did not exist. Her suffering became heavier, sharper, and more unrelenting. But still, Sunita remembered her mother's words. Patience and hard work pay. Do not give up. She clung to those words like a lifeline. Sunita's life in Madame Rose's house had grown unbearable. Every day was a repeat of labor and humiliation. She cooked, cleaned, washed, ran errands, and still received cruelty in return. Michelle and Patrick mocked her. Madame Rose sneered at her. No one offered a kind word. And then, one afternoon, fate intervened. Sunita was sent on an errand, carrying a heavy bag of groceries through the busy town streets. The sun burned down on her back, but she did not complain. She had learned to keep her head down and move quickly. Suddenly, a car appeared from nowhere. Before she could react, it struck her. The world went black. When she woke up, she did not know who she was. Her memory had vanished. Not her name, not her mother, not the dustbin clothes, not the pain. She only knew fear and confusion. The man who hit her, Mr. Paul, rushed her to the hospital. He felt responsible and insisted on taking her home to recover. But life had not yet learnt its lesson. Mr. Paul's wife, Madame Sonia, was harsh. She treated Sunita as though she were invisible. Every day was filled with work and punishment. It was a cruel echo of Madame Rose's house. And then, one afternoon, a visitor arrived. It was Madame Rose. Old friends, elegant, calm, smiling. Sunita, unaware of her past, carried a tray of drinks. Madame Rose froze the moment she saw her. She had buried this girl once, locked her in a house of suffering, and now here she was, grown, fragile, but alive. For the first time, fear touched Madame Rose. Sunita did not recognize her, but the past was staring, and somewhere deep inside, the seeds of truth were beginning to grow. Sunita had been living under Madame Sonia's roof for months. Life was still hard. The chores were endless. The harsh words never stopped. But something had changed. The presence of Madame Rose, her old tormentor, in the same house stirred something long buried. Madame Rose froze every time Sunita came near. The girl she had once buried in cruelty was now right in front of her, unaware, fragile, yet full of potential. Meanwhile, Mr. Paul had begun asking questions about the young woman he had rescued. He discovered her background, that she had once been a bright, respected child in her village. Her mother had sent her to the city for education. Her mother had passed away trying to see her. The truth was undeniable. Records of the money Mrs. Obi had sent surfaced. Neighbors remembered the girl in the village. Madame Rose's lies began to unravel. And one quiet afternoon, something miraculous happened. Sunita stood alone, staring at a small photograph of her mother. One tear fell. A memory flickered. Another. Her mother's words returned. Patience and hard work pay. Do not give up. Make me proud. Sunita remembered everything. The dustbin clothes, the hunger, the endless chores, the betrayal, and she remembered love, her mother's unwavering love. With her memory restored, she chose not to be bitter. She chose to rise. Mr. Paul supported her education. She returned to school, graduated with honors, and became Dr. Sunita Obi, a woman of courage, strength, and brilliance. Years later, she returned to Umudara village, not as a shadow of her past, but as a beacon of hope. She opened a foundation for children who had been abandoned, mistreated, or denied education. At the opening, she spoke to the villagers. They threw me away like trash, but trash can grow flowers if planted in the right soil. The village wept. They celebrated. Sunita had survived cruelty, betrayal, and loss, and she had turned suffering into power, pain into purpose.
Sunita's story became a legend in the village, a reminder that even in the darkest suffering, hope can survive, and justice, though delayed, always finds a way.